What is good? What is good? We live, yeah? We live. All right, people, it's been a minute. It's been a minute, man. Shit. 2 weeks, 2 consecutive weeks. It's been a while since the pod has missed 2 consecutive weeks, you know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, it could have been another week, but I thought the very least I owe the people that fuck with us, man, is just to touch base and just let everyone know kind of what's going on right now. So I'm going to preface this right now. This is not going to be a very long episode. I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of stuff, but it is important to me to just kind of let everybody know like where things stand and what's going on. All right, so let me do the intro music. The intro music.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to this people like the video. Drizz OnlyMans podcast. Yeah. OnlyMans podcast. Man, this shit for real. Hey, man, this shit for real. OnlyMans podcast. Say this shit for real. Yeah. Man, this shit for real. OnlyMans podcast. Talking about some man. Ain't nobody care now. We really like that. Yeah. Hey. My family, we dance. Talking about investments, romance, man shit, yeah, man shit, yeah. None of that he say bullshit, whoa, man shit, yeah, man shit, yeah. Hey, we're mad in demand, bitch. Hey. Only man.
Yes. And it is episode 114 of the OnlyMans podcast, yeah? Big up to all the people that tune in each and every week. I see the subscribers going up on YouTube. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Big up to each and everybody that tunes in, man. And we thank you. We thank you. So I'm not going to bullshit around. I'm not going to start with small talk. I'm just going to get right into the shit. And for those who don't know, of course, it's your boy Drizz, YM, Young Messiah, Lord Smoke, Lord Poseidon, young boy from the Grange, LS7, Steph, whatever you want to call him, yeah? Whatever you want to call him. And this is the OnlyMans podcast, episode 114, right? Okay, where do we start? The last 2 weeks, I've spoken to Will. I spoke to him maybe about 10 days ago, give or take. He's feeling better from his ear infection. That's one thing to note. You know what I mean? He's feeling better from his ear infection, which is always good. So big up to my guy, Will. You know what I mean? What's going on? There we go. Yeah, big up to my guy, Will. What I will say is that my guy Will has had a few personal things going on, a few things that he's need to deal with. You know, when real life happens, you just kind of have to deal with real life, and you in it, and there's no kind of option but to deal with it. So for the time being, again, particularly the last time I spoke to Will, he's just dealing with some things right now. He's getting everything sorted out. God willing and all that, he's going to be back soon. You know what I mean? He's going to be up here giving the opinions and all that sort of shit. But I don't even know how to address it. Like, I don't know how much I want to say, because it is Will's place to talk about certain things. Like, it's not my place to kind of talk about certain shit, especially with him not here. Like, I wouldn't want to do that. So what I will say is this. Always check up on your strong friend. Always, or at least try to make an effort to check up on the people in your life that you love, the people around you, the people that give you strength, the people that encourage you, the people that push you moving forward. Yeah, Will's dealing with some things right now. And again, we have full faith he's going to be blessed. You know what I mean? It's not a thing like that. It's just, as I said, when real life happens, sometimes you have to stop all of this entertainment stuff and deal with real life. So that's what he's in the process of doing right now. In regards to how the pod's going to go moving forward, I can't specifically say, you know, we're going to do this or we're going to do that. Potentially there might be a week off next week as well. I'll try not to let that be the case, but we'll just see how things go. But yeah, that's as much as I'm kind of willing to say right now. Just in terms of, one, it's my guy's own personal business. And two, like I said, it's been about 10 days, give or take, since me and Will last spoke. So I can't account for where he's at right at this moment in time as I'm speaking, because I've not spoken to him. You know what I mean? But now we want to send big love to Will. We love you, bro. You know what I mean? Take care of everything you got to take care of, and we hope to see you back soon. You know what I mean? We fuck with you. We support you. You know what I mean? And yeah, round of applause for Will. Round of applause for Will. Yeah. So yeah, that's really that on that. I feel like there's a lot more in depth I could go, but I'm not going to do that without my guy here, or at least I'm not going to do that without my guy's blessing to be like, yeah, no, talk about that shit. You know what I mean? It's not for me to do. So that's pretty much where that is at the moment. Again, what I would definitely say is, in the meantime, subscribe to the YouTube page. We've got over 114 episodes. No, I'm lying because we started from like 62 or something like that. But put it this way, there's a whole heap of episodes, and we be doing these clips at like 2, 3, 4, 5 hours at a time. You know what I mean? So there's a whole heap of content there for you to go and listen to. If anyone's sort of starving for a new episode, want to hear something new, the best thing to definitely do is to go and go on the YouTube and go listen to some shit you haven't heard. You know what I mean? Because I don't care how much you follow this pod, you've definitely not heard every episode, man. So go and check that shit. Also, we may potentially look to upload some of the prior episodes. Again, for anyone that's paid attention, obviously the podcast had a split around about episode 62, 64, something like that, where we had to sort of change up the dynamic and sort of change up how we were doing it and shit. But there's a lot of episodes before that as well that are really good, that are really worth listening to. So potentially we're going to look into getting those uploaded to the YouTube page, sort of some like retro throwback type shit. So yeah, definitely make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube. That's the best thing I can tell you. Subscribe, and that way any content that goes up, you're going to be privy to it and you're going to be able to see it. Okay, so that takes care of, that's 8 minutes. The thing with this podcast shit, man, it's like I really enjoy doing it with pause. Pause, nigga! Pause, man! Do you hear what he just said? I was about to say I enjoy doing it with my guy Will. Pause, in it. But what I'm saying is I do really enjoy recording the pod with Will, because when we kind of link up and we get in that energy, it's very seamless. I don't want to say it's effortless, because it does take effort, but it's very transient in a sense where we can just bounce off each other's energy and just, you know what I mean? When you do this shit on your ones, especially today, I wasn't actually planning on doing an episode today. It was just kind of like, you know what? I've got some free time. It's been like 2 weeks. The people deserve to hear something in it. So I thought, let me just jump on here and talk a little bit. So what am I going to talk about today? We'll talk about Drake's album, For All the Dogs. Now, by the point of view listening to this, you would have heard all the reviews. You would have heard about Drake clapping back at people, all of the kind of mess and all of the clickbaity stuff that's all happened in it. So we have an opportunity to review the album, maybe not in depth, but for me to at least give my review and my feedback on the album. And the first thing I'll start by saying is that Drake has already done it. Drake has already been crowned as the him of this generation in terms of rappers and hip hop and stuff like that. Like he is who he is, and that's undeniable. However you feel about him, whether you like his stuff, whether you don't like his stuff, whether you like him, you don't like him, he is undeniable at the point that he's at. And it's very important for us to preface the conversation with that, because he is, you know what I mean? Like he just is. And whatever I'm going to say is with the caveat of him already being him. So I listened to the album. I had the opportunity to listen to it kind of before all the different podcasts and media personalities started reacting to it and stuff like that. I had a chance, like it just kind of came out. Like when it came out, I think it was like the morning it came out, and I listened to it later that afternoon. So again, no one sort of posted anything like, oh, this is my reaction to the Drake album. And if they had, I hadn't seen it. So I had a chance to just listen to it clean, pure, just take it in, absorb what I can absorb. And what I'll say is this, and I feel like I've spoken about this so many times on the pod already, but just for context, again, I go by the name Drizzy Francis, and the reason for that is because when I was a younger person, back in Leeds, shout out to LS7, again, we're going to go back to like 2007, 2008, 2009. I was a massive Wayne fan, like me and my guy, Mikey, shout out to Spiky Mikey. We was like proper Wayne heads in it. We used to almost, what Versus is now, me and him would kind of do that with Wayne tracks where like, I might see him every week when we go church or certain, or we go play football or certain. And it's like, all right, next time I see Mikey, I'm going to be loaded up on some Wayne shit so we can go at it type shit. Like we used to do that. Like Wayne was and is the himmiest of himothies for me, because I was a young person and there at the time when Lil Wayne was Lil Wayne. And obviously he gets the accolades and the respect and that kind of OG status he gets now. But a lot of people that, I mean, shit, if you like under 27, you probably missed it. And so a lot of the people, they'll see their favorite artist bigging up Lil Wayne. So it's just like an automatic, all right, my guy fuck with Wayne, Wayne's the OG type shit. But I was there. I was there when all of the mixtapes were coming out, when the freestyles were coming out, like when the radio freestyles were coming out, when the Lucy's and the leaks and all that sort of shit. Like man was there in that period when Lil Wayne, literally, he's got a tattoo on the palm of his hand that says the world. And I think that's so dope, because I was there when he literally had the world in the palm of his hand. Like I remember that time where Lil Wayne was such a, for lack of a better term, such an extreme caricature. The face tattoos and the weed smoke and the way he talk and the bitches and the this and the fashion, and like he was such a caricature of what quote unquote a rapper should be, that when mainstream media had no choice but to fuck with Wayne, it was like, yeah, like he literally has the world in the palm of his hands. Like I was there when he dropped the Carter 3 and it sold 1 million copies in a week. And this is before streaming. This is before Apple Music and Spotify and all these shits. This is literally, in the UK sides at least, when you had to go into HMV or go into one of these stores and buy the physical album, $12.99, maybe $8.99, depending on the day that you went in. But you had to go in and buy the shit. And he sold 1 million copies of the Carter 3 album in 1 week. I was there when he dropped a milli, and what that did, like the staple that a milli is, even in the culture today. J. Cole has a verse referencing that on his new shit with Lil Yachty and that. It's like a milli was a moment in the rap and hip hop culture. I was there for all that. And back to what I was saying, me and my brethren, Mikey, we were proper Wayne heads, like proper in it. And I remember one day we was on our way to football because we used to play football up at these like 5-a-side. Well, I think they're like max 7-a-side, but we used to play like 5-6-a-side football. It was like every Friday, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. It was like every Friday. And the church van, because the team was sort of put together through like just niggas that went to church, just young niggas that used to play ball, but they also go to church. And it's like, well, all you niggas play ball, let's go play ball type shit. And we used to like whoop them niggas' ass every week and shit. We was the only black niggas up there, like type shit. I was a youth for when you could go somewhere and be the only black niggas there. Like that's the era that man come from, innit? And I remember we was on the blue Ford Transit van. Maybe had about 12, 14 seats on it. And the church would use it whenever there were like trips to other churches or, you know, different things like that. But just during the week when no one was really using it, they would use it to take the football guys to go play football, innit? Because, you know, we all young people, the church is looking over us, you gotta take us there, take us home, cool. I remember we was on the blue Ford Transit van. And you know, young niggas, we trying to be cool and trying to be shit. We used to always sit towards the back of the van in it. So obviously the drivers would be at the front. And then you have like 1 or 2 or 3 of the man, they're probably like the younger guys. Like, so if we're like 14, 15, the younger guys are maybe about like 11, 12, 10, 11, 12. So obviously, like some mean girl shit, like you can't hang with us, innit? You know what I mean? So they would maybe sit towards the front of the bus, but like us man them, we would sit towards the back of the bus and we just be getting into all our nigga shit and that. And I remember my guy Mikey was like, yo, bro, there's this new guy called Drake. Lil Wayne has signed this guy called Drake, bro. He's like a mixed race Canadian rapper and he used to be an actor when he was a kid. He's fucking sick, bro. And I remember saying to Mikey, broski, I don't give a single fuck about no rapper from Canada called Drake. Because at this time, rappers, you don't have a name like Drake as a rapper. It's Lil This or fucking, it's like it's 2 words and each word would probably be like 2 syllables or a syllable and 2 syllables. You got Lil Wayne, Young Jeezy, Gucci Mane, fucking Rick Rock, like whoever you want to put in there. It's like you kind of had like a slogan-y type name. So just like the 1 syllable, 1 word Drake, and he's a mixed race, half Jewish, half black Canadian ex-child actor. I don't want to hear this nigga rap. I don't give a fuck about nothing this nigga got to say, bro. Can you just put some Wayne on, please? And I remember he was like, nah, bro, trust me. You need to hear this nigga, fam. You need to hear this shit. And again, because me and Mikey, like for weeks and months, we'd be going back and forth on this Wayne shit. And sometimes he would put me onto some Wayne shit. I'd put him onto some Wayne shit. Like I respected his musical intelligence. I respected when he would come to me with a musical opinion, even if I disagreed. It's like, all right, because I know how much you into this music thing, I'll at least try and hear you out. And he was saying, nah, bro, I hear what you're saying. I hear you, but trust me, fam. Let me play you certain, fam. Let me play you certain, bro. And you'll get what I'm saying. And the tune the nigga put on was Ransom. I remember Ransom, Lil Wayne featuring Drake. And he put that shit on. And he got this nigga speaking, man, I'm high right now. Sorry, mama, I had to do it to him. Like all of that sort of shit. I'm like, okay. And then he start going like, I'm a hard guy to get along. We get on the song. We wish it be going right. I just flip it to the wrong shit. The people I put on, put the nick. Fam. Like he started going. And I was like, whoa. whoa. Who's this nigga? And Mikey was like, bro, this is what I'm saying to you, fam. This nigga is cold, fam. And I remember from that point, it was like, fuck's sake, how did Mikey find out about a whole rapper and I didn't know nothing about him? Fuck that, bro. I'm gonna go do my research. I'm gonna go fucking get clued up on this nigga car. He's something else in it. So in my youth, again, this is way before like man did music or anything even close to it. I used to like write bars and shit like that, but this is when man were truly like a civilian in the shit. And went back, I found anything that nigga had put out at that point. And again, this is before streaming and SoundCloud and Apple Music and Spotify and Tidal. This is like a nigga might do a freestyle and they just upload it to YouTube type shit, upload it to SoundCloud type shit. Like this is when like the day of the Lucy in it, when something was truly a Lucy, something was just like, yo, I'm just gonna throw this out. I went and did all my research, got all the tunes I could find, the mixtapes, the Room for Improvement, Comeback Season, So Far Gone, the extended version, like all the little kind of DJ mixtapes they put together, like all the shits that he threw out, fucking just like you, I get lonely, baby, I really get to know you. When he covered fucking Aaliyah shit, was it Aaliyah? TLC? I can't remember. But he covered that shit, like the shit. What's the track? What if I kiss you right now? How we explain it? Fam, like I went and did super deep state research in it, like, because I was like, yo, I'm not gonna get caught lacking on this nigga ever again. And I became so engrossed in my man's music because, again, at that time, you have to remember rappers, hip hop culture, where it was as a culture, you kind of needed to fit a certain demographic or a certain caricature to be accepted, type of thing. You know what I mean? You got to be a gangster and gang banging and shit, or you got to tattoo head to toe and fucking gold teeth and fucking, like, you have to look like a stereotypical rapper for the masses and the people to be like, all right, we'll accept the music you release. And this nigga Drake was the complete opposite of that. He was this young kid, kind of goofy, kind of nerdy, but he had swag about him. He had like a swag about him, but you could see he was a bit of an awkward kid in it. You know what I mean? Dude from Canada, he half Jewish, like his mum's is Jewish. His dad is black from Memphis, but he grew up with his mum in Canada. He used to be a child actor on like some TV show in Canada, Degrassi and shit. Like, he is the complete opposite. If you go to a label in 2009, you pitch Drake as an artist, every label that is active and running today that has been successful for how many years will tell you, get this shit the fuck out my face. Like, he was the complete opposite of what he was supposed to be as a rapper. And I remember listening to his shit. It was very, again, I've said this on the pod, but I'll say it just for the sake of context. Drake is the reason why I am rapping today. Okay, extra detail. Drake is a big component to the reason that I'm rapping today, meaning as a young nigga from Leeds who used to write bars and spit on, you know what I mean, people drop a track and I try and spit on the instrumental or whatever. Like, I remember kind of having that degree of separation where it's like, yo, this shit's fire, but no one's going to give a fuck because I'm not from Brooklyn. I'm not from fucking Queens. I'm not from fucking, you know what I mean, any of these places. I'm not from Houston. Like, no one's going to give a fuck about some nigga from Leeds just rapping and shit. So I used to just write the raps to myself. It was a very like solitary, private thing. And the reason I say that Drake is a big part and a big component as to why man rap today is because Drake showed man that, rah, you can just be yourself and make it. You can just, in his case, be this awkward kid from Canada who's a child actor and isn't really tapped into the streets and has had a fairly, I don't want to say privileged, but a much better upbringing than your stereotypical rapper. And you can just get on tracks and just kill them shits. And you don't have no gun bars, no gangster bars, you don't have to ever pretend about the life that you live in. You can just talk about your life. And if you're good enough, that shit will slap. That's the biggest lesson that I took from Drake as an early artist. Like, he gave man a lot of props, but he gave man the belief that I could just do this being me. And I don't have to try and acclimate to any type of stereotype or caricature or anything like that. I can just do this thing by being me. And that was one of the biggest things that man took from listening to Drake, especially those early years. And so every track, again, my social circle was very much like the church and, people at school and stuff like that. And when I tell you, bro, I could recite around that time any Drake tune that came out, whether he was the feature on there, whether he was the main artist, whatever it was, any Drake tune that came out, I could recite it word for word. Because that's how much I fucked with Homeboy's shit. Not just on like he's a dope rapper, but on some like he's doing this shit being himself. Like every word man could recite to you. And it got to the point where, again, like my friends, my peoples and shit, they would not make fun of me, but be like, when the Drake tune would come on, because again, these times Drake is the new shit. You have to think of Drake like how these kids think of maybe NBA Youngboy or Ken Carson or Yee or Yachty or whoever the young kids look at, like that nigga, that's who Drake was times 10,000. Like he was head and shoulders above anybody else in his weight category and his age category at the time. And like, so Drake shit would play a lot in it. And bro, when I tell you any verse, any tune, any track, any feature, I could recite it word for word for word for word, bro. And it got to the point where my G's, they would mock man whenever that shit would come on and I would start spitting that shit. They'd be like, all right, Drizzy, all right, so it's Drizzy, like fucking Drizzy over here, you know what I mean? And I remember saying to myself, like, lol, you man think you cussing me, but that's a compliment to me, dog. Like, you think I'm offended by you calling me Drizzy? Like, I'm not offended by that shit at all, bro. Like, that's live, bro. Do you know what I mean? And so when man started to do the music shit and that, like, that always resonated with man. And it was like, yeah, Drizzy Francis, obviously my government is Andre Francis. And it's like, I didn't want to do a Kendrick Lamar and just use like my name type shit. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to do that, but I didn't want to just come up with some mad crazy name because I didn't have no like mad crazy nicknames when I was a youth. Like, my G's used to call me 3000, and literally because my name is Andre, and there's an artist called Andre 3000, so they called me 3000. Like, or like they'd be like, yo, 3000, or like, yo, 3, yo, thou, like, you know what I mean? But that's what they would call me. And I never really liked that nickname personally, because to me, it was like, it's not my name. That's a whole other nigga's name. That's not me. You're just calling me that because there's this nigga who's that. But then when the shit flipped and they started calling me Drizzy, it's like, yo, that's not an offense, bro. Like, I'll take that all day, bro. And I embraced it. And that's how the combination of Drizzy Francis came together. So I say all of that to say that when I'm speaking about Drake's album, it's not from a place of any kind of weird hate or any kind of weird whatever. Because I'm sure an artist like Drake, like, he gets so much of that shit just from random people on the internet. And he might hear this and think I'm some random nigga on the internet. Well, actually, he won't, because me and Drake have had like a few, how do you say, indirect interactions. That's the best way I can put it. And I've always said in this pod, I'm not going to talk about that shit. But Drake knows who I am. I have confirmation of that. I have numerous levels of confirmation of that, but that's not something to talk about today. But what I'm saying is, whenever I talk about Drake, I like to give the context of my perspective of man, because it's like it's a drawn out sort of thing. It's not just, oh, he the hottest nigga, I'm judging his shit. It's like, I need you to understand the relationship I had with his music. You get what I mean? And so all of that said, we get back to For All the Dogs. In fact, let me pull up the track list. Just give me a second. If I'm going to be honest with you, I listened up to every track. I listened to tune 19. There's 23 tracks on the album. I listened to the Bad Bunny feature and I turned it off after that. I might have listened to Rich Baby Daddy, track 20, but I don't remember it. But I got to that point in the album and I sort of myself was like, I've heard enough. Like, I don't really need to hear anything else to draw a conclusion about this album. And for myself, as someone who's had a long-standing relationship with Drake's music, for me, as a nigga who's heard this nigga rap with the best of them, who heard this nigga when he was hungry and had a chip on his shoulder and had a point to prove, who heard this nigga really spit his heart out on shit, for me, the album is very underwhelming. I think if any other artist, any other up-and-coming artist or any other unknown artist put this album out, it's a good album. Again, when we would have debates on the pod, whether me and Will or me, Johnny or Will, whatever, and them man will be cussing Drake, like, oh, he's shit. And the thing I'd always try to explain to him is like, yo, Drake cannot make shit music. The level of success he has, the resources he has around him, and the talent that he has, he cannot make music that is not good. It's impossible. He cannot make shit music. But because I understand that, I hold a nigga like Drake to a very high standard. To a very, nigga, I need you to top the last shit. Fuck the last shit. I need you to top the best shit that you've done every time you come out. For me, the album was very underwhelming. I've said this before in the pod as well, but I do definitely believe that Drake is a victim of his own success. I think because he became so undoubtedly on top of his generation and so undoubtedly head and shoulders above everyone else in his weight class. Because you may prefer J. Cole, you may prefer Kendrick, and yes, they've taken different routes and do shit differently. But if we just quantifying stuff, it doesn't tally up. Drake is him. He is him. There's no, whoever you think has the best verse or spit the best or has the best project or whatever you think is fine and you're allowed to think that, but Drake is him. It's unquestionable. He is the him of this generation. And because I know that, and because I was the nigga before this nigga blew up, again, when Mikey put me onto man in like 2008, and I went and did my research, and I told all the people around me, bro, he's the next one. There's no one else who's going to do this shit before him. He is too good to not blow. Even if he blows opportunities and doesn't get it right, he's the next one because he's so much better than everyone else around him. For me, this album is a living manifestation and a living testimony to how much Drake is a victim of his own success. I think that because he has been the man and him for as long as he's been, because we're going over 10 years now. When did Tuscan Leather drop? Let me see. Wow, that's Nothing Was the Same. No. Was it Nothing Was the Same? Hold on. We about to find out. Tuscan Leather, 2013. From the point he said, I'm tired of hearing I'm sick of hearing who you checking for now. Let's give it 10 years. Let's see you around the decade from now. He's been the him of this generation. He has been. So this is over 10 years because the album is 2013 and Room for Improvement dropped 2007, I want to say. 2007 Room for Improvement. Yeah. And so because I have been on the journey for all that time, when I listened to For All of the Dogs, for me, it was very much that you've not really had to rap for a really long time. You've not had anything to prove for so long. Like, there's no nigga out here that's making you sharpen your pen. You around all the lit bitches and you in Turks and Caicos and your money up and you're doing shows and the people love you, and there's no one that's really made you have to G-check your pen and be like, oh shit, that nigga is better than me. Because, and he's spoken about it the same way like the old Kanye. The old Drake, he had a point to prove. The old Drake, he was going in the studio to kill everybody. I don't give a fuck who's here, bro. I have a point to prove because I'm this young, half-Jewish, mixed-race, ex-child actor, bro, from Canada. So when I get in that booth, I gotta kill everybody in here so you man take me serious. He's been the man for so long that he's never had to... Okay. He's been the man for so long that for a very long period of time, he's never had to G-check his pen because anything that he does goes up. It charts, it fucking plays, it plays in the clubs, people play at home. Like, anything he does is the Midas touch, innit? The Midas touch. And the issue with that, the issue with reaching maybe your goals and accomplishments and your dreams and shit, is that when you reach it, it's important to make new goals for yourself. And I think that as a fan of this nigga, I have definitely, for, again, at least maybe 10 years or so, said, bro, I would love for this nigga to just drop a rap album, bro. I would love for this nigga to just do it, just to silence everybody, because I know how well this nigga spit. I know how dope this nigga is, bro. Like, just to show up all the critics and shit, just drop one full-length hip-hop rap album where you just barring up, bro, because I've heard you bar up and you do it with the best of them. And that's me as a fan of his music projecting what I want him to do. As someone who does music now, I definitely understand your fans projecting onto you what they want you to do. And if that's not what you wanted, like, I get that more now. But I think by any metric that you judge it, For All of the Dogs is not Drake's best rapping album. And I wouldn't mind it not being his best rapping album if he didn't promote it and push it as though this was going to be his best rapping album. The whole sort of rollout was people miss the old Drake, and I'm going to get into that shit. Yachty saying that he's got some of the best verses ever spit in his career on the shit and some of the shit he's talking about. And so when you listen to it, you waiting for that oomph. You waiting for that ting, like, oh shit, this is what that nigga used to be doing, bro. When he dropped 5 AM in Toronto, and that nigga said, this is why every song sound like Drake featuring Drake. Do you know how you know the fucking vibrations that sent through the culture? Because at that period in time, every song sounded like Drake featuring Drake, bro. Niggas want to try and give you the singing shit on the hook, and they're going to try and rap on the verse like he do, because he coined something that niggas ain't coined. Kanye introduced that type of shit, but Drake made it something else. And when he said that shit, it resonated because you could look around at the playing field and be like, raw, every song do sound like Drake featuring Drake. Fucking hell. And he said that shit. Like, when I listen to For All of the Dogs, that's not the nigga that's rapping. And it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be. One sec. He don't need to be the same hungry kid that he was before, because he's not the same hungry kid. Nigga, we made it. Like, he made it. He cut through. He did his. Not only did he cut through, but he became the #1 male rapper in this shit, period. For me, when we look at totality and everything included, Jay-Z is the greatest to have ever done this thing that we call being a rapper. He's the greatest to have ever done it. But even Jay-Z has not done what Drake has done. Let's be very clear in it. And with all of this said, these are the expectations that I have on man musically, which is why in 2023, when was, if you're reading this, 2015, I've not taken any interest in a Drake project since 2015. Meaning, if you're reading this, it's too late, was the last Drake project to me where he was really getting into his shit. And some people argue that another nigga was writing for him. But I'm saying when I listen to a project, that project resonates. After that, I think that's 2015, sorry. Where's it gone? Where's Views? When did Views come out? It's at the bottom of my actions. Views was 2016. Fucking More Life 2017, so on and so forth. And to be honest with me, Views was the first album that he lost me at. Views was the first Drake album I listened to and I didn't love it. Everything before that, to me, there's fire on there. So again, we're gonna go back to if you're reading this right. If you're reading this, it's too late. 2015. So what's come before that? So we need to go back to 2014, right? Okay. And I'm not even going to include the Lucy's, like the shit he did with The Weeknd, and then I'm not going to include that shit. I'm just gonna projects. 2015. So we're going back to 2014. So before, if you're reading this, nothing was the same. Put it this way, the best way I can describe this to you, Tuscan Leather was the intro. The album has fucking started from the bottom on there. The album has Worst Behavior, Own It. The album has Just Hold On, We're Going Home. The album has The Language. The album has 305 to My City. The album has Pound Cake with Jay-Z. The album has That's Nothing With The Same, 2013, yeah? All right, cool. We're going to go back to 2012. If I can find it, that is. Where's it? That Take Care is 2011. Thank Me Later is 2010. Come on, doggies. There should be a lot more of a fluid process. Club Paradise was 2012. Don't piss me off, bro. Like, tell me, how did you think me on? You think it got to me? I can just read your mind. You think I'm so caught up in where I am right now. Bro, I used to listen to that shit going to my job, bro. The first job I ever had, bro, I used to listen to that shit. Take Care with Rihanna's, bro. If you let me. What I'm saying to you is, man, they're invested in this thing here, innit? And on a human level, I don't blame Drake. On a human level, imagine chasing your dream, taking the risk to chase your dream, and it all works out. Yeah, there's bumps and there's hurdles along the way, but it all works out and you become the himmest of Himothy's. You up, you rich, everyone know your name, your face card is crazy. Like, I understand to that degree where a man might be like, yo, I'm good. But on a fan of this nigga rapping level, for all the dogs, it just didn't quite meet the mark. It wasn't shit. It wasn't a bad album by any means. I really wanted him to rap on there. And I really allowed myself to believe that he was going to rap on there more than he's rapped on any previous shit. Because he promoted it as such. Usually he'll promote his shit, But he promoted this shit as like, yo, I'm going back to the old Drake. I'm rapping on this shit, da 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 da. And it's like, you listen to it, and you're like, brother, like, where was the rapping? And not because it wasn't good, because it was good. It was cool. It was cool. But I feel like the tune with Cole, First Person Shooter, that's actually recently gone number one in it. So, you know, big shouts out to Cole. That shit went number one. Shout out to Drake and Cole. I feel like that tune exposed Drake a lot. And where, as an artist, if you're looking at the bigger picture and you're looking at, you know what I mean, people spinning the shit and talking about it and da-da-da-da-da, of course, you're not going to fucking... J. Cole couldn't do that on a tune. You putting that shit out under your shit. I completely get it. But on some rap shit, J. Cole exposed him on that song. J. Cole reminded an audience who may not have been fully aware that there are levels to this rapping thing. And this actually, for me personally, this is the first tune where J. Cole has done to Drake what Drake has done to J. Cole on so many tracks. All the features they got together. Here in the Morning, Drake's verse was a madness, bro. Jodeci Freestyle, Drake's verse was a madness, but like, all the tunes they've done together, I've always felt like Drake has come out the victor in terms of whose shit is better. This Cole verse on First Person Shooter, J. Cole exposed Drake. J. Cole exposed Drake's pen. J. Cole exposed Drake's rapping. He showed even the casual listener, you don't even have to be into all that rap shit, but you're going to recognize the difference between me and that nigga. And I really think that Drake called on all that he could call on, but it's like, again, imagine if you're somebody you don't drink water. 2, 3, 4 years, you ain't drunk no water, bro. And now you're trying to do something that's going to take stamina and shit. Like, you're going to get gassed out immediately because your body's not even hydrated properly. And you call on all the hydration that you've got, but it's not going to be enough because you've not been fueling that hydration. It's the exact same things in terms of rap. Drake has not been fueling his rap side because he hasn't needed to. Because the way that music and shit goes on now, it's a different thing. And J. Cole just really showed the difference between a nigga who fuels this rap shit and a nigga who don't. And respect to Drake for letting that shit live and not trying to hinder it all. Because a lot of niggas, they'd hear that shit. And Drake does too much music to not know that that verse is better than his. He's done music for too long and has done too much music to not recognize, yo, that nigga washed me. Of course Drake knows that, fam. He knows that. There's no way, even with all the yes men he might have around him and shit, there's no way that he listens to that in an honest moment and says that, yeah, my shit is better than his or my shit is on par with his. It's not, bro. J. Cole flooded him on that tune. So respect to him for letting it just live and just letting it be what it be. And for me, this album was a lot of the same of that, where I felt like as much hype and anticipation and stuff that was pegged for it, it just fell below my expectations. Again, it's not realistic to expect a 10 out of 10 album, to expect a nigga to drop an album with 23 tracks and I like all 23 equally the same. Like, that's unrealistic. But there's probably... Let me look at this shit. I'm sorry, let me look at this shit. That one. That one was okay. 3. 3 with a maximum of 6 tunes. That'd be like, yeah, I'd listen to that tune again. Not even like, rah, that tune is fire. Just like, yeah, I would listen to it again. Off of just what I think is fire. It's that one tune with Cole. On a 23-track album, there's one tune on there that I think is fire. Now, fuck what I think, because it don't matter. But I'm saying for a Drake album, that's not what man are used to. I'm not used to, and he don't even drop a bunch of tunes like this, bro. Like he's very, usually people like 15, 14, 16, whatever, 23 songs, bro. And there's only one tune that's really memorable to man like that. It didn't do it for me. There's some people that will love this album. It may be for a younger demographic. It may be for all of that. Like, I get that. I'm not mad at that. I hear that. But, and it's funny because Drake spent a lot of the last few months sending like his direct, indirects at Kendrick about, you know, some of these niggas, they take like 3-4 years off to make music. That could never be me. You know what I mean? I gotta be outside. I gotta fuck with y'all. I gotta give y'all some shit to dance to. You know what I mean? I can't be taking time off like that because real niggas be outside. All these niggas claiming that they the greatest, but they only drop every 4 or 5 years. All that shit he was saying about Kendrick, who sit around and be like, yeah, I'm taking a break from music. And it's just to say that Drake for a long time hung his hat on being the dopest nigga that's only known of this music shit. I don't do no fashion shit. I don't do no fucking social commentary shit. I don't do none of this other shit. I'm strictly this lit off music. And when your music is on top of the world and everything that you touch turns to gold, that's fire. But when it starts slowing up and shit starts, let me not say dwindling, because that's not the right term, because his shit is still up. But when shit starts looking slightly different and you notice it, it's not exactly the same flex as it was. And I don't think, as a fan of Drake music, I don't think that I'm ever going to get the Drake album that I want. And I'm cool with that. Because fuck what I want, innit? Like, he has millions, if not tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people across the planet that are all waiting on his shit. So fuck what just me, one person, thinks. Like, I get that the realm that he's in is rarefied atmosphere in it. Like, but it kind of seems like in a lot of the years he's been doing his thing, there seems to have been a very conscious effort to try and get as many people in as possible. And it kind of seems like every time he does that, he gets more and more flack and more stick for it. And my thing is sort of like, well, if you're going to get this flack and you're going to get this stick, really make the shit that you want to make. Now, he could turn around and be like, this is the shit that I wanted to make. And I would respect that. As an artist, if you went into the studio and you were like, this is the best shit that I've made, I can respect that because I felt that way about my music that I might not feel the way about today. I can respect that. But I think he has done music so long, too long, and at such a high level, I don't think that he will listen to this album and say that this is one of the best projects of music that he's released. I don't think he would say that. That's not a diss, that's not a slight, that's not to put him down or anything like that. I think if you were able to speak to him in a vulnerable, honest moment, he would say to you, yeah, I've got about 3 or 4 albums that are better than this. And that's okay. And that's okay. Because sometimes on the way to getting to that album that is going to be the game changer for you, like on a different level, sometimes you got to put out a project that might not be received well. 2 projects, 3 projects, even 4 projects, a single that might not land. Like, I heard something on a podcast earlier today, and they basically said, like, failure is a part of success. And there's no way to be successful without failure. There's no way to get to success and everything just go well and continue to go well. That doesn't exist in any aspect of life. Failure is a mandatory component of success. And so I don't necessarily blame Drake for the projects he's released that I may not have fucked with that much, sorry. It's just, for me, if it's for all the dogs, and people are now turning around and saying that obviously the initials are FATD, Fat D, the initials like dogs, bitches, like he's actually talking to the women, whatever it might be. I'm just saying the way that the shit was promoted and pushed out was that he was going to give the niggas some shit that they wanted to hear. And I just didn't get that on this project. It sounded like an attempt to try and still connect to the younger demographic who maybe stream more or are more engaging with content and stuff like that. Like it seemed like a conscious effort to keep them included, which again, I'm not mad at. It's just, I think if Drake dropped the hip hop album that everybody's been wanting him to drop, I think it's received even better than all this sort of shit. And yeah, there'll be some people who'll be like, nah, it's too rappy, it's too this, it's too that. But I think overall it will be received better. Because even the young kids, to some degree, even though they might say fuck the older generation, there is still a certain level of dictation that they take from the older generation. Where if all these OG rappers and artists and entertainers and celebrities and shit that we've just come into life knowing that they, them, and they all fuck with this shit, then it's fire. That's how Ye be getting his shit off. Because a lot of these kids that worship Ye, bro, they didn't listen to College Dropout. They didn't listen to Late Registration, none of them shits, bro. They just were born into a life where Ye was this mythicized nigga who was doing ill shit. And then he continued to do ill shit. They're like, oh shit, I see him do some ill shit now, I follow him. Do you get what I mean? But they didn't see the origins of that shit. He didn't start out just fucking doing all this mask on the head and all this sort of weird fashion. Like, he didn't start out like that. Do you get what I mean? And it's like, I really think that the break that Drake is going to go on, if he does the work, which I know is like a cliche phrase now, but if he does the work, I think it will really benefit him musically. If he goes away and really reflects on his life, reflects on where he is right now, reflects on mistakes maybe, I don't know, just everyone's been saying this shit, man, and I feel like it's not good to offer things without solutions and shit, but I really feel like the life that Drake has probably lived, and I have not been there with Drake and living his life with him, so I don't know. He might have been inside his yard all day drinking peppermint tea. I don't know. I'm just saying, from what we can assume and gather, this nigga has lived a very extensive life, had a very wide threshold of different experiences with different people in different walks of life and places in the world. And it's like, it'll be really dope to get some sort of recounting of those things in a more hip-hop based structure. Because when he starts talking all the private jet shit and the money shit and the money shit, it's like, yeah, we fuck with it, but it's hard to really connect to it in the same way you used to connect to his vulnerable songs, because you're not a millionaire or a billionaire. Like, you're not doing the shit that he's talking about. So you can be like, oh shit, that'll be fly, but you don't really have the experience to connect with it like that. And I think that, again, I don't want to victimize him, but it really feels like he's become a victim of his own success, where he's living a life now that niggas can't relate to. And whatever I say in these verses, y'all are just not going to get this shit, because my life is so different to how y'all is living life, bro. I'm on such a different wavelength, bro. And to me, it's like, even discussing that and discussing what it's like to be on such a different wavelength, it's like I would like to get a more reflective Drake. Let me not say introspective, because everyone's saying introspective. I would like to get a much more lyrically reflective Drake, and for him to discuss not only the ups, but more so even discuss the downs, bro, and not have to do it in a cool way, because the thing that made you pop was not being cool. And even when you was trying to be cool, you was a corny nigga with the fucking 2.5 Men Charlie Sheen button up fucking beach shirts and shit, like with sunglasses on. Like, he was a corny nigga. And where people made fun of him, a lot of people connected to his music because they could relate to that. It was relatable. Now he's in this different stratosphere, and he's talking about blickies and sliding on man and all this sort of shit. And cool, if that's what's going on, cool. But it's like, it kind of feels like the vulnerability in itself is almost a caricature of what it also is. It feels like Drake is a caricature of who he was at a time. There was a period where he was an innocent kid from Canada, got into the shit, got around Wayne and some fucking Houston gang niggas, started, fucking with the lifestyle a little bit. And even like when he used to speak about that fucking Aston Martin music, and he's talking about like fucking up the double cheek kiss and shit, like even in those moments, it's like, yeah, I'm lit and I'm this and I'm that, but I am still a bit awkward. Like I'm still a bit like not fully accustomed to this shit. And it's like now it just kind of seems like he's so engrossed in this gangsterism shit that seems to be the like prevalent message in a lot of the songs. If it's not crooning about a woman, it's often some sort of gangsterism where he's sliding on man, or he's paying for man to get slid on, or whatever it might be. Like, it's some sort of gangsterism shit. And it's just like, there's nothing wrong with that if you're able to be as reflective with that as you were when you weren't accustomed to it. Because it's not the subject matter. It's not really what he's talking about. It's about how he's able to communicate that to the people listening. That's really what it is. Meaning, what he's talking about on this album, if he was able to tap into how he used to communicate this shit, people would fuck with it. They would. But a lot of his kind of communication comes through this like fame lens and this multi-million dollars up lens and this gangsterism and my friends are gangster and will get something done to you, and it's just kind of like, it feels like Drake has become the rapper that Lil Wayne always told him not to become. There's an interview and you can find it, and it's Drake's interview, but he's talking about first meeting Wayne and just like shit that Wayne told him in that. And he said that Wayne told him, like, yo, bro, do not try to be like these niggas out here. Like, you ain't got no tattoos and shit. That's your winning point. Don't get no tattoos. You don't need it. What's going to make you win is the fact that you're completely different to these niggas. Don't talk like them. Don't try and rap about shit that they rapping about. Rap about your life and your shit. That is your fucking winning element. And as long as you do that, you up, bro. But it just kind of feels like through all of the money and the success and the fame and all sort of shit, it just kind of feels like Drake has become that rapper that Wayne told him not to become. And for me, all of that was encompassed when I listened to First Person Shooter featuring J. Cole. Just two niggas who used to be on this shit. Again, I've seen the videos of them man in HMV, bro, when like Cole album first dropped or some shit. And them man is buying up all the albums in there just on some like young nigga shit. The store ain't closed down, ain't no a bunch of people asking for pictures and shit. Just two young niggas doing their shit, you know what I mean? Trying to push the shit. And it's like, for y'all to have gone from that point to the point that you're at now, thank God and bless y'all did it. But it's fucked that the nigga who was really that at that time almost seems like he can't draw on that anymore. It almost seems like he's not able to tap into that same place to draw on that same lyrical shit. And it's not just about lyrics and bars and shit like that, but listen to First Person Shooter, Drake featuring J. Cole from the album All of the Dogs. If you don't believe me, listen to the song. Whether you into the hip hoppy shit or like, I think that you'll listen to it and you'll be like, yeah, that nigga Cole is rapping better than a nigga Drake. He just is. Drake sounds like he's trying to keep up on his own song. For me, as a nigga who fuck with Drake shit for as long as I fuck with it, pause. Pause, nigga! Pause, man! Do you hear what he just said? For a nigga who's fuck with like Drake's music for the amount of time that I have done, that's a weird concept to me. That Drake would sound like he's trying to catch up to a nigga on his own song that he's featuring a nigga on. That's like a weird concept in it. So yeah, I think overall, my review of the album is that if any other lower rung or lower tier artist put that out, it would be considered like a really good album. If an artist who hasn't dropped an album, who's yet to drop a debut album, drop that that got a bit of heat, people be like, that's a really good album. Because it's Drake and because of the standard we hold him to, for me personally, the album is just mid. And when I say mid, I don't mean trash, because a lot of people use the word mid when they really mean trash. Like they talk about some shit like, oh yeah, that shit mid, man. But really, they mean trash. But I'm using mid in terms of the actual term that it's meant, meaning this shit is literally the middle of the road. It's not trash at all, because Drake can't make trash music, but it's not flaming hot fire. It's just, it's cool. It's aight. I can listen to it. I probably won't go back to it. But if I heard it again, I'd nod my head. That's what this album was to me. And for me, I just think for Drake and just kind of where he's at in the shit, I mean, he can either accept it and just sort of not bow out gracefully, but just, I mean, just get on with life and just do the different things he's doing, or he can really focus in and try to reclaim that part of himself that maybe has been lost through all this success and women and money and all that sort of shit. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm hating on Drake, because that's far from the point. Big up to Drake. Like, big up to you, Aubrey. You know what I mean? Like, I can positively say that there's nobody that's done the shit in this life that you've done, in the context that you've done it in. There's nobody who's done it like you, him in it. So I don't ever want to think misconstrued. My whole thing is just, as long as you continue to try to please everybody, nobody will be pleased. You'll get the handful of people that will fuck with it, but they shouldn't really hold weight like that. Like, as long as you're trying to impress everybody and please it, you can't please all of the people all the time. It's really as simple as that. And it kind of feels like that's what he's been trying to do these last few years. And yeah. And yeah, so that really is like my review of the For the Dogs album. For All the Dogs, sorry, by Drake, For All the Dogs album. So if you haven't listened to that already, I'll definitely say, go listen to that shit. You know what I mean? Give your own review, leave it in the comments and shit. Let me know like what you think of the album, you think I'm wild, if you think that man's right, if you've got a completely different opinion, like whatever it may be, like go listen to it for yourself and then be the judge for yourself, because music is subjective. Music is depending on who's hearing it and stuff. And it's always going to be that. You know what I mean? It's always going to be that. So, but yeah, I am not going to stay too much longer because, like I said, this is not going to be a long episode. I think we went over an hour though. We went over an hour. Yeah, an hour 7. So, again, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page, the OnlyMans podcast. That's the OnlyMans, OnlyMans, one word, podcast. Subscribe to that. You can catch all the episodes that are uploaded on there. Again, it goes way back and there's so much content to listen to and go through. So make sure you fuck with that. I see the subscribers going up each and every week. We appreciate it all. Thank you all. You know what I mean? And big up to you guys as well that are tuning in. And yeah, again, we want to send a massive shout out to my guy, Will. You know what I mean? We want to send big love to Will. Again, I don't want to make it sound like he's on death's door or anything like that. But just, as I said, he's got some things that he's just taking care of in his personal life at the minute. And however long that takes him and stuff, we're going to surround him in love and embrace him and just, you know, do what we can do to support my man. You know what I mean? So if you want to support my man, and maybe not myself, you know what I mean? And like I said, subscribe to the podcast. Although that's supposed to be too, but it's fine. It's fine. But shit, yeah, I'm not even gonna waffle on or just talk or nothing like that. Just thank you guys for listening so much. Thank you guys for being so patient with us over these last 2 weeks. As I said, I am gonna try to make sure that, you know, something is put out next week, just so, you know, even if it's just something like this, a little quick hour or whatever it might be, I'm just gonna try and make sure that you guys are well fed, so you got shit to listen to, you know. But in the interim, just hit the YouTube page and subscribe to that shit, man. But I'm going to play the outro music and then I am going to get the fuck out of here. Yeah.
Yeah. Woo. Hey, shout out to Super Life of Will, Drizz, OnlyMans podcast. Yeah. OnlyMans podcast, man, this shit for real. Man, this shit for real. OnlyMans podcast, say that shit for real. Man, this shit for real. OnlyMans podcast, talking about some mad shit. Ain't nobody playing about these niggas like really nasty. Damn, man, my diamonds be dancing. Talking about investments, romance, man shit, yeah, man shit, yeah. None of that he say bullshit, whoa, man shit, yeah, man shit, yeah. Hey, we're man in demand, bitch. Hey.
Yes. This is episode 114 of the OnlyMans podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube. We're going to be back with you shortly. As I said, my name is Drizz, Drizzy Francis, YM, Young Messiah, Lord Small, Lord Poseidon, Young Boy from the Grand Jelly 7, Stephen, whatever you all call him. And this has been another week of the OnlyMans podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll chat to you soon. All right, peace.